What is going on, Crimson Tide fans? Chris Daughtry here with the Alabama Football Report by Chat Sports. And coming up on today's show, there is one position in particular that I do think a couple of freshmen could find their way into having some playing time for Alabama this season. Going to touch on that here on today's show. Also, a 2027 five-star prospect also has a visit set with Alabama for an upcoming game this season. And also, Clint Lamb gave a little bit of an update on Alabama's linebackers, specifically Deontae Lawson, kind of what he's looking like coming back from that injury. Before we get into that, though, I am a total idiot. And a week ago or so now, we did a video doing our comment shout-out challenge, and I totally forgot to give the shout-outs on a future video. So here we are doing the shout-outs for that. Anthony Jennings, Darius Jordan, Jamie Bailey, and Jimmy James. Appreciate all of you guys for getting down in there and spamming the comment section. I know Jamie, me and him tweet back and forth every now and then on Twitter, and then Jimmy James, a.k.a. Jimmy Sexton, down in the comments is what his handle actually is. Appreciate all of you guys for getting down there and commenting for us. So I want to do it again, and hopefully I won't forget to actually give you guys a shout out this time. And I want to beat last video that we did. It set a record in the month of July when we did that video with 165 comments on that single video. I want to get at least 170 comments on this video today. So get down there. If you guys are excited, we're now, 21 days or so away from the Crimson Tide hitting the field again. If you guys are excited, get down there and spam your RTRs down in the comments section. All right, first up on today's show, I told you guys there was one specific position group that I do think there are two freshmen on this team, at least one of the two anyways, that I think could find themselves getting some playing time this season for Alabama. That position group, I think, could be that tight end position. Marshall Pritchett and Kaleb Edwards, both of these guys coming in, very highly talented guys, out of Alabama's 2025 recruiting class there. Marshall Pritchett was listed coming out of high school at 6'5", 211. Kaleb Edwards was 6'6", 255 pounds was his listed weight in high school. Both of these guys, top 300 players. Kaleb Edwards, number 8 tight end coming out of this class as well. But both of these guys, since getting on campus, have added a ton of weight. And I think that may help them when it comes to getting on the field this season for Alabama. We'll first start off with Marshall Pritchett here. Like I said, he was listed at 211 coming out of high school on his 247 Sports recruiting page. Now his current listed weight on Alabama's website is 248 pounds. That means he would have gained 37 pounds here during the offseason, and that's included during the springtime. Remember, he got a little bit banged up. He had that knee brace on as well. And I thought this was a really good tweet here from Brett Greenberg saying Marshall looks like a different dude heading into his freshman season here at Alabama. Crazy athletic pass catcher who is absolutely not afraid to get dirty in the blocking game. Absolutely pumped for this guy. And I think the fact that he loves getting dirty, as Brett Greenberg says here, in the blocking game. I think that's something that could be really big and meaningful for Alabama this season, as he could possibly find his way into getting some playing time for Alabama. And then Kaleb Edwards as well right now is listed at 264 pounds. As of getting on campus in the summertime, that would have been 9 pounds added for him from his original high school weight of 255 pounds. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe that would make Kaleb Edwards actually the heaviest or biggest tight end on this roster right now for Alabama. So I do think when it comes to the blocking game for those tight ends, that's going to be a real big key thing for them. And Alabama does love to use multiple tight ends in different sets at times, whether that's 2 tight ends or 3 tight ends. If these guys can contribute in the blocking game, I think the athleticism that they bring is already there. So it's really just going to come down to, can they be consistent in those areas? If so, I think there's a chance that these guys could play this season for the Crimson Tide. So I want to hear from you guys down at the pinned comment of today's video. Will one of these two freshmen, either Kaleb Edwards or Marshall Pritchett, be able to contribute for Alabama this season? That may not be, the first 2-3 games of the season, but maybe, by the middle of the season, we have seen freshmen being worked into into some playing time. So I do think there's a chance there for these guys, and we'll continue talking about it here in just a second. But get down there to the pinned comment and let me know what you guys think. Type Y for yes or in for no. All right, like I said, we talked a little bit about their blocking game and their athleticism and pass catching and everything like that. These two last year in their senior season of high school, I mean, for a tight end, that's pretty much all you could ask for right there. Marshall Pritchett had 679 yards. Kaleb Edwards, 729 yards. Both of these guys averaging over 13 yards per catch. And, when you look to this Kalen DeBoer offense back at their time at Washington as well, that's, I think Jack Westover had like 400 or 500 yards of receiving yards or something like that in his final season there at Washington. So I think both of these guys, depending on what goes down with the rest of this tight end room, they have a chance to work their way into some playing time. Obviously, Josh Cuevas, Danny Lewis Jr. are probably going to be your two bell cows there at that tight end spot. You also have Jay Lindsey, who really didn't play a lot last year for Alabama, but I still do like him a lot. You got a couple guys out of the transfer portal, Jack Samarco from West Virginia, and then Brody Dalton out of Troy. Brody Dalton as well is a guy who is very good in the blocking game as well, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is also his last year of eligibility. But it doesn't really matter who the senior guy is. The best players are going to play for this team this year. And, if something were to happen to Josh Cuevas or Danny Lewis Jr., I do think Marshall Pritchett and Kaleb Edwards have an opportunity to get some playing time this year for Alabama. We'll continue with some more stuff here in just a second, but first, want to give a shout-out to our friends over at Fanatics. You guys can get this Columbia, Alabama quarter zip today. It is on sale. 50% off still. We're going to continue to push this because it seems like you guys really do like this one. We've looked at the analytics, and they're going pretty fast. So if you guys want to get a new Alabama quarter zip today, just go to chatsports.com/BamaQTR zip. Like I said, it was $90. It is on sale right now for only $45. So get down there. I'll put that link down in the pinned comment of today's video. There should also be a little clickable link over there in the corner of your screen as well. But get down there, chatsports.com/BamaQTR zip. All right, next up, Rivals reporter Greg Smith actually reported that five-star wide receiver Monshun, not real sure quite yet how to pronounce his first name there, Sales, will be taking a visit to Tuscaloosa on November 8th. That will be for that LSU game for Alabama. And, this kid is just, if Alabama can just continue stacking up on these, very, very talented wide receivers, man, this Kalen DeBoer / Ryan Grubb offense is going to continue to thrive here. He is originally from Alabama. He was a big Alabama fan growing up, is the number one player in the state of Indiana right now, and the number 2 wide receiver in this class. Obviously, in the 2026 class, Alabama also got the number 2 wide receiver in Sadarian Morgan. But like I said, Sales grew up an Alabama fan. This is what he told Rivals about, just Alabama in general and getting that offer from the Crimson Tide. He said, growing up, it was my dream school. I mean, I am from Alabama, so all of my family is down there, and Coach Shep is a great coach and a great person. He is someone that you want to be coached by. I think when you look at this current Alabama wide receiver room as well, with these guys that are in there right now, you've heard the exact same thing from them as well. He does have a couple other visits set up already for this coming season. He'll be at Ohio State for the first game of the season for that Texas game. He'll be at Indiana. He lives in Indiana right now, obviously, so that'll be an easy one for him to get to. Second week of the season there for that Kennesaw State game. I'm sure that one's going to be a barn burner. And then Notre Dame, he'll be there on September 13th against Texas A&M. And like I said, he will be in Tuscaloosa on November 8th for that LSU game. There's some other teams listed as well, like Texas A&M and some others that he's also trying to get on the books to get visits there as well. But as of right now, those are the 4 visits scheduled there for the 5-star wide receiver. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We've been continuing to push our next subscriber goal here on the channel, 26.5 1,000 subscribers, and we are only 30 away. I think we can do it on this video. So if you're watching this video right now and you're this far in, seems like you kind of like what we're doing here. So do not miss out on any Alabama football news, rumors, recruiting updates. We're going to be live for every single Alabama football game this year for our watch parties. We're going to be doing giveaways. We're going to have a good time. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Do not miss out. Hit that sub button. It's youtube.com/@RollTideTV. All right, before we get out of here, Clint Lamb gave us an update on Alabama's linebacker room and specifically kind of what, Deontae Lawson is going through right now with his rehab and just returning from that bad injury that he suffered last season. This is what Clint Lamb said about Deontae Lawson and just kind of where he sits right now. I think we're now 7 practices out of 20 before we get to that Florida State game. About Deontae Lawson, he said, you can tell Deontae Lawson still isn't 100%. Is he getting there? There's no doubt. But watching him go through a drill where the linebackers were showing blitz, they were kind of up there on the line of scrimmage like that double mugged look like they were blitzing, and then they were bailing. He looked a little bit clunky, moving backwards and having to turn and run. Obviously, this was to be expected, but it is at least worth mentioning. I'm sure he will be much further along by the time that FSU rolls around in a couple of weeks. And continued on talking about some of these other linebackers as well, saying Nakai Hill-Green is another one who looks even bigger in pads. Not the smoothest athlete, working backwards, but that's never been his game anyways. Physical, downhill thumper who should improve. The second level run fits when he is out there. Continues on about some of the other guys as well, saying Justin Jefferson, on the other hand, looks like a defensive back working those drills. Very fluid and rangy. QB Reese continued to work with the veteran group, and Caden Jones working with the freshman. Talking about Justin Jefferson there as well. I think I read the other day that Justin Jefferson actually hit like 22 miles an hour this offseason. That is super, super fast. That's up there with some of these wide receivers and DBs. We talked about Rico Scott hitting 23 and a half miles an hour. So at that linebacker position, hitting 22 miles an hour is a very, very impressive feat. Now, let me know down in the comments section, will Deontae Lawson be ready for week 1? It seems like he's getting there, but, some of the videos that have been put out there, kind of like Clint said, he is still looking a little bit clunky right now, and I don't necessarily know if he's going to be 100% ready to go by week 1. Maybe he is, but we'll see when we get there. We're still 3 weeks away, but let me know what you guys think. Will he be ready for week 1? Type 1 if you think it's yes, or type 2 if you think it's a no. Now, I'm not worried about Deontae Lawson just in general. I think he's going to get back to that playing shape eventually. But I would be lying if I said that I wasn't a little bit nervous about him being able to get back by week 1. He's still looking a little bit slow coming back. And like Clint said, that is that is much expected from that knee injury that he suffered last season. It was a very, very bad knee injury. So I do wonder if he's not ready week 1, where Alabama goes for really who is supposed to be your number 1 linebacker this season. Justin Jefferson's going to be fine. If Deontae Lawson can't go in the first, week or two, something like that, I would assume Justin Jefferson is probably going to be your green dot guy there calling the plays. I would assume Nakai Hill-Green would also get slotted in there. But Kane Wommack and this defensive coaching staff like adding a third linebacker to the field as well. So is that going to be QB Reese? Probably. Could it be Caden Jones? Maybe, but I would probably put QB Reese over him as well. And you also have some of these really, really talented freshmen as well, like Abdul Sanders, Duke Johnson, Luke Metz. So we'll continue to keep you guys updated on Deontae Lawson. Kind of, there's still 21 days-ish until Alabama actually gets on the field against Florida State. Maybe as those scrimmages really, some of those reporting from those scrimmages start to roll out, we'll get a little bit of a, better feel on how Deontae is looking in live action play.